talk about Ukraine. Why wouldn't they be? Russia's invasion of Ukraine was shocking. It was wrong. The suffering of civilians there is entirely real. We're watching it on TV. It's horrifying. So it's entirely natural to root for the Ukrainians to expel the invaders, and obviously we are rooting for them to expel the invaders, Russia. But just because what Russia has done in Ukraine was wrong doesn't mean you have to lie about the Ukrainian government. In fact, if you really cared about the Ukrainian people and all the people you just saw on TV, we care so much, you wouldn't want them to live under a dictator. So you'd be highly upset about what Zelensky just did. But our leaders are not upset in the slightest. They're cheering it on, even when they know better. So some of them are just too dumb to know, but some of them do know. Michael McFaul, for example, he's Barack Obama's ambassador to Russia. Unlike shallow gas bags like Dick Durbin or Ben Sass, McFaul actually understands Eastern Europe. He has lived there. He knows exactly who Zelensky is and exactly what he's doing. So here's his assessment of the Ukrainian government, not the people, the government, as of this afternoon. Quote, if Zelensky remains in power, Ukrainian democracy is preserved. That guy teaches at Stanford. But that's not true. So again, Ukraine was invaded by its neighbors, and we oppose that. We should oppose that. But that doesn't mean Ukraine is a democracy. It's not. And we shouldn't tell Americans it is, because that's a lie. We should tell the truth. But virtually no one is telling the truth. Everyone is lying. So why? Why is everyone lying? Why not just say, look, it's outrageous that Russia did this, and we like Ukraine better. We're going to support Ukraine. Fine. Why go the extra step to tell us that Ukraine is a model democracy when it's not at all? Why are they doing that? Maybe because Ukraine now has exactly the sort of democracy they'd like to see here in the United States. They hate to think that could be true. It's scary to think that's true. But ask yourself, play this word game. If they could find a, quote, national security pretext for it, a war, for example, do you think Adam Schiff and Kamala Harris or Mitch McConnell would pause for even a second before banning their political opponents for running from office in this country? Do you think they would hesitate before pulling this show off the air forever? No, of course not. They do it in a flash. Then they call it democracy. So maybe you're starting to conclude that these people love Zelensky not because he represents the Ukrainian people, but because Zelensky is exactly the leader they would like to be, with wildly expanded war powers to make everyone who complains shut up at gunpoint. Maybe that's what's going on. It seems kind of obvious when you think about it. Now, of course, we pray they never have the power to do any of that in this country, the last free country in the world. We should not let them do that, because freedom in America is not just important to us, our children and grandchildren. It's important to the globe. Again, we are the last free country. We must remain free. But in the meantime, a war is being waged in America's name with our money, so it's fair to ask how the side we are backing is doing. Clearly, there are an awful lot of heroic Ukrainian citizens. We see them all the time on television. We applaud them. We admire them. But how's the government doing? How is it behaving? Again, we have a right to know, even if state-controlled media in Ukraine won't report it, even if our sort of state-controlled media here downplays it, dismisses it. Here's a man called Gennady Druzenko. Druzenko is a medic in charge of a field hospital in Ukraine. He's appeared on CNN. In this clip, he casually announces that he has ordered the castration of captured Russian soldiers. Watch.
Я своим врачам дал указание, всегда я был большим гуманистом и говорил, что как только человек пораненный, он уже не враг, а пациент. Но теперь очень жесткое указание всем мужчинам кастрировать, потому что это тараканы, а не люди. И поверьте, все врачи, которые всю жизнь спасали пациентов, русские тут будут умирать в большом количестве.
Cockroaches, not people. Now, again, that doesn't mean the broader Ukrainian cause is unjust. It is just. They were invaded. They have a right to fight back and expel the Russians from their country. And for the fifth time, we're rooting for that. But we're paying for this, so we have a right to know exactly what's happening. We have an absolute right to know. In fact, we have a constitutional right to free media. We don't have that. That video, by the way, disappeared. People on the internet managed to get a copy of it. You may hear it dismissed as Russian propaganda, just like Hunter Biden's laptop was, or the 2016 presidential election results in this country were. But it's not Russian propaganda. It's real. The man you just saw speaking has confirmed the video is authentic. He apologized for it. So murdering POWs is a war crime, so is castrating them. We're not shocked by this. This happens in a lot of countries. Ukraine is not unique. Atrocities happen during war. Every war. Always, no matter what the neocons may tell you. But this is a war that we are paying for. This is a war with moral implications. This is a war the White House is involved in at every level. So when the Ukrainian government does something, we have an interest in knowing exactly what it is and what it means. But more than anything, we have an overriding interest and a moral obligation to keep the United States free. So when you see them admire someone who's shutting down any opposition to him, you should pause.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.